So hello everybody and welcome to another video about Tensor Flow. I was maybe for last weeks exploiting Tensor Flow, Flow, sorry. And there are a couple of solutions I have come up which will be definitely exciting for you. And at first I thought the more actual hidden layers on convolutional layers, or whatever you call it, the hidden layers, I'll call it convolutional layers, the neural network has, the actually better and more precise it can become. And that's not true. I realize that's not true. I don't think I don't think about all the whatever you want to use the TensorFlow for, especially neural networks. Not it's in my case it's TensorFlow, but in any case it's neural networks. It is becoming too overfitted. This is the reason. And let's look at. In my case, I'm looking at stock markets. Stock markets, right? In this case, in crypto. I want to make a conclusion right now, and disclaimer right now, that I actually have made a profitable neural network bots, and maybe I will share them a little bit more in next videos. But I want to share my conclusions about it. Basically, let's come down to a point of why do you need small neural networks. Is first of all, if you have, for example, data which is, let's say, let's say, well, that's the basics what everybody can think of, open, high, low, close candles. And in those open, high, low candles, it's not reasonable to look for to give the neural network to learn by the price. You want to make those candles, let's say, moving average, AMA, or candle price change in percent. So basically you will have a first candle which is EMA, it's like plus 5%. The second would be price change, and the second price change would be plus 0.2%. So basically you have a number of data and inputs on each data set that you have. So basically you will end up of having, let's say maybe 30 inputs. Maybe you will have, let's say, 100 neurons, first layer, 100 neuronas. You will have 100 neuronas. Basically you have 30 inputs, 100 neurons, and then basically you have two outputs. So this would be basically your setup. Now, the idea which I want to tell to you is about overfitting. Is now, if you have 30 inputs, let's say, and on those inputs, one input range equals, let's say, from minus 10% to plus 10%, and you have 30 of those. So it means that you have approximately 20. Let's just keep it in simple. You have 20 values that can range up by 0, 1 equals, at one parameter range is 200. So a one parameter can range up in 200 positions. So basically, let's say EMA or moving average can range up from minus 10 to plus 10, and thus a step could be 0.1. So basically you have 200 values on one input. So, and you have 30 inputs, so it's 200 squared by 30 times, squared 30 times. Now that's a lot of possible market conditions that you can have. I don't know how much is that, but it's trillions and maybe quintillions and gagillions, and maybe the calculator itself doesn't have the possibility to show such a huge number. So that's the number of how many possible combinations there are. Okay, so keep in mind that. Just keep in mind that a little bit. Because you have 100 times 100 times 2 neurons. So 100, and they also are 100 times 100, meaning that you have approximately zintilliards, quintilliards, gagilliards, whatever you want to call it, a huge amount of possible combinations that can happen. So this neural network using 30 inputs that have a range of 200 can bring up to infinite number of combinations that it can find. So why is it bad? So the bad thing is because if your neural network, let's say, picks up a noise, let's say the price goes up like this and this and this, and it will find that in this scenario, because the price went upwards, let's say input number 21 was in range of 5, input 23 was in range of 25, so it had happened only once and it was true. So it adjusted to it. And it has happened only once and it's true. So the neural network actually is trying to fit this one possible parameter that matched this, let's say, trade to be positive. So basically what you are ending up is having just one parameter that has maybe happened only once. So let's get a little bit further. So now the second thing is, now that we are having like a quintilliards infinite number of combinations, how many actually data sets are we actually analyzing? Let's say, are we analyzing 100k data? 100k? Are we analyzing 1 million? And are we having possibly of, so how much your data is in ratio against the possible combinations that this neural network has? How much is the you know, you understand how much is the ratio, how much greater the combinations are against the data sets? So how much are you having a chances to become overfit? So you can divide the possible combinations by the data sets you are having, and then you have the chance of it having or becoming overfit, and you can have a ratio of overfitting. Now let's try to reduce overfitting in simple ways. The first way is reducing data sets, not data sets, inputs. Let's reduce inputs to, let's say, 5 or maybe 20, and let's reduce neurons to, let's say, 5 and 5 as well here. And now we can inputs, let's say 10, let's say 5 inputs anyway. And then how much are we having this? It's 5, and then it's 5, and then it's 5. And now we are having a much lower possible combinations, maybe that much lower. And if we are having, let's say, 10 million data sets, we can actually become farther away from overfitting. And this can become also underfitting. So there's a little good thing about Tensor Flow. What it actually provides is dropout layers and regularization layers. I don't know how to pronounce them correctly. But what it means is, for example, we still want to have more data in our sets. Let's say we want to have, let's say, 20 inputs, and maybe we can reduce to, let's say, 10 neurons. But TensorFlow allows this ability to add dropout layers, and in my opinion, they worked really fine. And just for others to keep understanding what it actually means is dropout layers are basically they by random skip a neuron on each learning iteration. So basically what it does is for example, there is one input that maybe the neural network started to accept it to be true. In this case, for example, the one overfitted case, he has found a one neuron and one position of the dataset where it was true and there was actually a positive trade. So, but what a dropout layer does, it randomly skips these neurons. Therefore, okay, it was true, but then on the next iteration, the parameter doesn't exist there, and the neural network will try to find other parameters. It will try to skip that parameter. And the next thing is regularization. Regularization is also a really good thing. So what the neural network will do is it will not allow one parameter to become dominated in the neural network or connection, or the weight to becoming over let's say over the average estimates of other weights. So basically what it does, it will not try to rely only on one parameter, which is also really good. So adding dropout layers and regularizations can help you to become overfitted. So, but nobody actually knows what setup is best for our data. Nobody actually knows which one is better, but I guarantee overfitting will be the case in all situations, and becoming overfitted or avoiding to become overfitted and still have good results on test data is the most important thing, I think, on machine learning and etc. So the next thing is, now that you have approximately understood this idea, which I wanted to talk about, so the next idea is, how do you actually learn the neural network and realize, for example, in my case, the situation was like that. I set it up a neural network and I created to go live on trading, and I have, like, let's say 70% accuracy. I will write it down a little bit lower. Let's say my first model was my absolute first, not the ones I'm making right now, but the absolute first model was, let's say 70% let's see, on, let's say 1 million. So it's like a huge accuracy for traders. It's like you become rich really fast with such an accuracy. So basically 2 positive trades, 1 negative trade. Still good, still very good. But when you but when you actually start to go live trading, it doesn't perform that, and you start thinking, why is it? Why was this happening? What the hell is going on? And it's not about trading; it's actually about learning. So basically, you have learned it to be good on several models and on several data sets, and then when you start putting it to the test to other data sets, to new data sets, it starts performing awful, and you start figuring out why is it like this. And especially in stock markets, where basically nobody actually can predict the outcome, and if you can be a little more precise on your predictions, then that's the thing when you can get chances. And other things that you can do is make mathematical strategies that still benefit without even predicting where the price will go. So yeah, and so I got the results, like, still was getting many positive trades, many negative trades, and I was still thinking, how can you actually train the model? How can you actually make the model it's already good for live trading, so you don't need to wait like months maybe for the live results to come. So the thing is using evaluation tests. That's what you can do. Evaluation tests means basically you have like for example, you have total data sets of let's say 1 million samples, and then you wanna like let's say divide it 800k and this they let's say 200k, something like that. So it can be a little bit more, a little bit less, but still, and also in stock markets you definitely need a lot of test data as well, not to mention even learning data. So basically what you do is the system learns from the training data, which is 800,000, and then it evaluates those learning results on test data, which is 200k results. So what then happens is you get, let's say you have two results. Then you have first result is training accuracy, which is 70%, and test accuracy you have 50%. Then you're, what the heck? So basically on stock markets, all buy positions have 50-50 chance. So basically you will on trading examples, you will not get accuracy of 0% or 25%. You will have accuracy of 50%. That means that you have completely no progress. So what you would want to get is 60%, at least 60%. I think that would be pretty good results. And excellent results would be 65. Let's say excellent results would be 70%. Like outrageous results would be 80%. But still. So, wait, sorry, I didn't want to save it. It's a reflex. So okay. So now that you have this set up, you do your trading. Well, let's say you do one trading epoch. Let's say one trading epoch, or how is it called? I don't actually understand such a strange name. But then when you get what you get there is what you get then is, let's say, one epoch, training accuracy increased, evaluation decreased. So you need to monitor this. So it does training, evaluation, training, evaluation, training, evaluation, training, evaluation, and you need to monitor whether both of these results are getting higher, higher, and higher, and higher. So you need to monitor that. So once it gets higher, once it starts getting higher, the test evolution and training evolution, training tests accuracy and the evaluation accuracy gets higher. Then you know that you're progressing. But if training accuracy gets higher but evaluation accuracy gets lower, then you have completely went into overfitting, because the things which have the system found, the neural network has found, doesn't be true on evaluation. So basically you need to consider this, which we talked about previously. Try reducing something, changing something, and testing again. So and now let's get to the charts. So right here I have made 3 models on my own system. Let's refresh, maybe we have some more. It's maybe learning a little bit only while I'm making this video, so maybe 10 to 20 minutes it's already learning. But I have actually 3 models which we were talking about. This doesn't exist. This I think also doesn't exist. They're empty. Because I only started, these were just test samples to see whether it works. So we are only learning on Ethereum market. So basically I have three setups right here, which is 5 neurons, 21 neurons, and 60 neurons. So basically they're all pretty simple, darn dumb. And they are learning only on 200 data sets, and the evaluation is maybe 30,000 data sets. So basically it's a pretty simple test. I made this test only to, let's say, have the system learn for like a couple hours and then view the charts. So let's now look at the charts while the page is loading up. Okay, so here is the chart. As you can see, the training accuracy for 5 neuron model increased up to 63, which is pretty good. And then it went down a little bit to 62, 62, 62, 62, 60. So okay, that's it needs to learn. It has went to only 35 epochs, which is less. So basically in my situation I need to consider a GPU. So and now let's look at test accuracy. Test accuracy 54.4, 50.40, 50.451. So it doesn't change, but as you can see, 54, 52. So basically we are having a greater accuracy than average. So basically nothing special about this model. But what I noticed about the TensorFlow is that some changes start to happen. So basically no changes, no changes, no changes, and then at some point huge changes start to happen. So basically I will let it work for like 1,000 epochs each of this neural network. Maybe tomorrow I will have updates on this particular 5x. So remember, we have basically 54 point, which was the highest point. I need to make a highest point, but I think this was the highest. Okay, so 54 is the highest score. Let's say 55 is the highest score, 54.8. And there is not much differentiation between the training data and test data. So basically it's not becoming very overfit. That's what I see in this chart. So let's look at I think this was 10x, this was 10 neurons. Let's see. Okay, this is with 10 neurons. As you can see, the accuracy tends to become slowly greater and greater and greater, but our test accuracy stays the same. In fact, it fell down a little bit to 52. So 5 neurons perform better than 10 neurons by now. Okay, let's look at 60 neurons. Okay, so 60 neurons, as you can see, performs even worse than 10 neurons test evaluation, and 63 I think is the highest by now test accuracy, training accuracy. But the thing which I noticed also was that at one point the training accuracy will get to 70 and the test accuracy will also pitch up a little bit. So it's also went to 35 epochs, and still there's not much great changes in the system. Sorry, we watched 60. I remember we watched the 60. Anyway, let's look at the 21x also. Okay, so as you can see, the 21x and the 21 neurons are actually also pretty good compared to other models. But the best model by now was the 5 neuron setup, a really simple, primitive neuron network. 5497 and what's now 5367 and 40 epochs already. So, and 62 training accuracy on the 40 41 epoch, 41st epoch. So now my conclusion is that to continue learning, to continue to learn a little bit, I want to find maybe, let's say, I want to find even a more simpler model. So 5 neurons was okay, but I want to find a more simple model. I want to find a model which has more accuracy, test accuracy, I mean. So basically, I would look again. Let's look one more time through. So 5x is the best with 54.87. Then is the 10 neurons. It's getting higher. So 5 and 10 neurons is my pick at this moment. Okay, that's good. So 5 and 10. Then let's go to 60 neurons. So 60 neurons, not very good. What was the score? It was 51, I guess. Then let's go to 21 neurons. .52. So best performing by now is 5 and 10 neurons. So I hope in this video I gave you a little bit of understanding how they work, a little bit of understanding how the machine learning works itself, learns by itself, and some other features. But I really wish to publish a couple of trading bots which I will make live that are positive and good working, and I'll put them live on trader.aicoinpal.com, and people like you or other would just want to rent these bots and use them for own trading. So okay, so this is my video and my things that I've learned about the neural networks, and now that is a major task to study and to find out the best fitting or best performing neural network. So this, I think, would be one of the greatest challenges by now. So okay, thank you for watching and have a good day.